Volume on my end.
Hi. So this is Happy Lifestyle Online Show. I am Lisa Caprelli, and welcome Terese Santos.
Well, hello. I love this. I love this concept all about living happy.
Yes. So I was introduced to you, Terese, by a good friend of ours, Lisa Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And so she heard about what we're doing with the Happy Lifestyle Show and the concept. And you and I got to talk a few weeks ago. And I wanted to share your answers with the audience. I
Sure.
said, don't tell me more because you are so in line with what we believe in our mission and outreach, which is to really help people live healthy, happy lives. You sharing from guest experience, trials and tribulations, and what got you to where you are today, and the message and the great work you're doing. So can you give our audience some backstory on your previous experience and what you're doing now? You have so much to share.
Oh, okay. So first of all, hello to everyone. And Lisa, I'm sure we're going to have much more of an audience on the replay. So just honoring that. And I want to thank you and honor you for all the work that you're doing in the world here. So yes, my backstory is I'm gonna make it rather a brief backstory to allow you the opportunity to ask more questions. But let's just say that I didn't always have this concept and this mindset of anything was possible, and taking and making the most important role of my life being nurturing my self-love and my peace of mind. That was never the case. For about the last 25, almost 30 years, I found myself like so many of us, you know, I've had 5 different businesses. I'm a mom. I've have 2 grown sons now. But let's just say that the night of high school graduation, I was 17 years old. I grew up in a home with an amazing dad, but a mom that was just really, lacking a whole lot of confidence and a lot of self-esteem and a lot of self-worth. And I was reminded very often that I was worthless. So basically, we all know that to be true as something called projection today. We tend to project onto others, what we absolutely feel in our, about ourselves. And so there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of physical abuse, to the point where I went to high school graduation. I came home. I had cake, and I moved out that same night. I moved out with less than $200 to my name. And through my 20s, I learned a couple principles as far as success. I got involved with a company that allowed me some extraordinary mentorship by women, where the focus was on keeping your priorities in order. And I never knew, that was foreign to me. God first, or faith first, family second, then career. And I did very well. I actually, let's just say, made my first 7 figures by the time I was 29.
Yes, and that's one
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
messages that I know our friend Lisa
Yeah.
shared with us. So you made your first million by the age of 29.
Yeah.
And then what happened, and how did the series of, I say that was like climbing the mountain for you. You climbed the top of the mountain, as many people do. Many entrepreneurs, many people have success stories of climbing and sometimes falling and climbing again. So what was that? Tell us what that was like afterwards, and how that changed your life into going into balancing and not obsessing about work.
Right. Well, so then through all that, through the climb, as you call it, because it definitely is the climb, a lot of self-confidence came. A lot of inner strength and resilience was developed. And that's important for where I'm going, because then in my 30s, the suffering came from all the things that I didn't pay attention to in my 20s. So here I am. I'm the mother of these young teenage boys, and I'm about 35 years old. And on my 35th birthday, I look in the mirror and I don't even recognize this old woman that's looking back at me.
Mm-hmm.
And see, stress has a way of radically aging us.
Yes.
And everything about my personal life wasn't right. My marriage had suffered. Yes, I had evidence of success all around me. Big home, beautiful cars. But I truly was not a woman living an authentic, joyful, happy life at all. And so on the other side of that climb was a dramatic fall. And it had to do with my health, my peace of mind, everything. Again, here we are in my, and that made me do some different choices to the point where I let certain things go. I let certain people go.
Right.
And then in my 40s, I started learning other practices that started to get even, and those practices became so outwardly evident that everything about my life was changing. I had lost weight. I had looked like I morphed 15 years in the reverse. and it's amazing when I started learning from some of the world's best, let's just say gurus in the area of mindfulness. And so now we're learning more about meditation today. We're actually waking up to it in this country. But I was learning some practices that allowed me to make what I call a mind shift and a soul shift. And this is what got my health back. And
so for people who can relate, people who are at their wit's end or they're struggling in everyday life. And one of the things that I talk about on every show is my research in a book and from all the collective interviews I've done over my years, many times with entrepreneurs, CEO leaders who are just, we're doing so much because we have that purpose. And I call it, there's 5 hats in life that we're going to pay attention to or not, or we're going to suffer or we're going to be great and happy and balanced. So the first hat is family. The second hat is friendship. The third is business career. And then the 4th hat is connection. And the 5th hat is adventure. So can you share with us which were the hats that were really high, and which were the hats that you look at going back now that you if you could tell that younger self, you would give that advice to?
Oh, I love that question. So yes, it was all about chasing the goal. So that would have been the professional hat like 90% of the time. And if there is any, I know that your audience is going to be very diverse, but if I could go back and not only give my younger self some advice, but to give anybody right now that has children, especially, I mean, anybody can start right now and change the story. But one of the greatest pains in life, right, is the pain of regret.
Yes.
And so I did miss those. I did miss some years with my children. I did miss some things that I look back and I'm going, wow, if I did get a mulligan, that would have been my mulligan, to spend more time nurturing my own peace of mind and nurturing my family.
Yes, you said creating $1 million and losing your life at the same time is actually failure.
Yes, when you create, I did say that. So, he or she who is chasing just a business goal and how do we in this country so often really, what do we associate success with? But, what's in our bank account, the things that we acquire, and to earn $1 million or even millions. And I don't know about you, Lisa, but I know a lot of financially successful people who have, they done well in business. They succeeded in finances, but they failed at living.
And they're not happy. Yeah. I have story after story. In my early 30s, I'm out here. I had a mortgage and real estate company. Did a lot of radio media. So it was really nice. Again, me coming from Texas and just being around this tremendous, amazing weather in SoCal that we have. Yeah. Entrepreneurial success. And I remember I would ask people like, you have this, we're on a bubble island one time, a person has this mansion and we're invited to this party and this guy just has cars and multiple real estate properties. And he says to me, Lisa, I'm not happy.
Right.
His marriage was failing. And I would just see that from people who they appeared on the outside as like, wow, I want to be like that person. And it would really like bother me. Like, you have all this and you're not, like, like you think if I had all that, I'd be happy. And so that's when it really, I started realizing in getting to know people and then sharing their true authentic selves that, as we know, money does not buy happiness, and success does not mean money. It's a combination of many things. So I was constantly on this quest to say, for myself growing up, really poor in Texas, I think to myself, God, if I just had a fraction of this. Yeah. And yet sometimes I think each of us has to go through the journey and the work of what does this mean for us. With loss comes opportunity, always. And so I feel that in life we are humans, and we're here to collaborate and share from one another. And there's no manual on how to do it right. It's the work for you, the person watching this, and you, the person, when you have a lot, then how do you stay humble at the same time?
Well, Lisa, actually, I agree, because one of the things that I teach, I'm a very spiritual based mentor, and one of the things that I know is absolutely true is God's greatest challenge in life isn't to keep us humble, right? It's that we actually do know our worth, and to acquire much and to still put your head on the pillow and to feel so unfulfilled. That means you really actually failed in life. And so often when you're chasing just that one big goal, you have blind spots. You don't see all the other areas that are being neglected. In fact, you're the last one to see. So I love what you said, that we get to, I also think that one of the great privileges that we have is once you actually do get to a certain level, is that you get to go back and you get to have this outreach and you get to teach. And it's become a natural full circle for me to start to mentor others on some of those practices that absolutely can, hindsight, right? We all know how valuable hindsight is. And so that's really where I'm at right now as the founder of Beauty for the Soul Mentorship. My entire practice is on helping the women, and there's an expression, and a few good men that are really open to having someone like myself that knows what it's like to start from nothing. I wasn't born with one of those pretty shiny silver spoons, right? Like so many of us are not. And to understand, and I'm grateful at this place in my life, because I didn't have to wait until, like so many people, they're on their deathbed, right? I have some friends that are in hospice care, and for so many people, they journey their whole life and they never make this valuable soul level connection on truly that happiness is our advantage. Happiness is the advantage to business. Happiness is the advantage to health. When you're happy, you're healthier. When you're happy, everything you attract, right? Money flows to the happy. Yes, it's flow to the happy. And how do we get happy? We consciously choose to be every day. Right. We put ourselves in situations where the influence is the right influence. We make sure that I teach something called the perfect peace plan. And so it's all about understanding our greatest role in life is to nurture our fulfillment, to nurture our peace of mind, and to nurture ultimately our happy. And a lot of people, they can't do it alone, Lisa. I find that people really do need
people. Need people.
People need people.
My older son now is 28, who's works.
Men need help too. Yes, Chris.
Help us to get connected live today, even though we're late all. But I remember one time he said to me, people need people.
Yes.
And I
the
think
right influence, right? The right influence.
The right people. Yeah. And sometimes as leaders or people who rise to the top, it's the thing, it's lonely at the top. And there's, and so I think a lot of times it's being vulnerable to reach out to people when you need help, when you are in a crisis, or when you feel like I can't share whatever this problem is or issue is with other people. They're going to think wrong of me. Like I'm supposed to be this great, guy, or this great woman, that's supposed to have it all under control.
Mm.
And then sometimes there's stress or there's eustress. So I know that, can you give people 3 tips they can do when they have stress in their lives?
Absolutely. So first of all, I teach a way that you can literally interrupt stress. We know that stress enters the body, Lisa, at the speed of thought. Let me repeat that again. Stress enters the body at the speed of thought. And that means that if you are and that's conscious stress. Oftentimes people aren't aware that we always have this low grade level of stress going on. Stress is actually a $300 billion problem today in this country. All these stress related diseases, and then everything from all the different arms of stress, from chronic fatigue to all the sleep issues. So one of the most important things you can do to interrupt stress, when you know you're stressed, you can literally just stop when you know that you're stressed, and you can literally say, what you can't say is affirm that I'm stressed. So many people walk around going, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. I'm so frustrated. What if you stop saying that? Because words are wands. Words are wands. Whatever we say, we create more of. So we can have a conscious interrupt. Number one, consciously interrupt. Stop saying I'm so stressed.
Right.
Now, if you can do that, number two, ask yourself, where is the stress showing up in my body? Because it always lands in the body. Our cells hear our thoughts. Our cells hear our thoughts. So stress actually lands in our body. And if you just stop and interrupt it and go, where am I feeling the stress? Oftentimes it's in the chest or it's in the lower back. Here's the secret. You can send the stress. This may seem kind of woo-woo, but it works. You can send the stress love. Send it love. Love literally neutralizes. Loving thoughts will neutralize that stress thought.
I love that. And I love, a lot of times it's easy sometimes to love other people and give and feel like that's going to come back to you. And oftentimes I think like we have to learn to love ourselves first.
It is everything. It's everything. And the final thing I would ask is that I would offer is, there is something powerful about, everybody understands, everybody's really starting to understand the power of meditation, right? But what if you started to pay attention to the thoughts between sleep and awake? That is often where we get in trouble. Persons, they are hurried throughout their day. They're worried throughout the day. And then they finally get to bed. They're laying their head on their pillow. Hi, Lori. They're laying their head on their pillow. And instead of thinking about everything they did right that day, all their victories, all the things that went well, what does a human do? One of the most natural things they do is they literally default into thinking everything they messed up on during the day, everything they didn't get done. And there's this powerful place between sleep and awake that if we can go to that space and just start we can just literally stay there and go, again, kind of woo-woo, but just go, I love myself. I love myself. I'm gentle with myself. And then just start making a mental list of everything you did right that day. So send your stress love. I also have a little piece of human software that I use. It's a little piece of human software. I'm good friends with the scientist, Lisa. And I wear this little piece. It actually has engineered crystals in it, and I wear it on my C7 vertebrae. And it's been scientifically proven. So kind of think acupuncture.
Yes.
But I wear this every day. It's been scientifically proven that it will interrupt stress as well. So there's things that we can do metaphysically, and there's things that we can actually do understanding body biochemistry. So a couple thoughts.
I'm sure you have. I know you have such great work to do, and thank you for that. Can you share a story of someone that had an issue in life or disarray, and how you work with them and what the outcome has been now?
Oh, thank you for that question. So Beauty for the Soul mentorship it has got my heart right now. I know that it really is full circle for me. And so I have a client, and I'll just, her first name starts with a D. I'll just keep her private. And she's been working with me officially for 5 months. And she has had years of just complete stress in her body from major, her entire body was just shutting down on her. Her quality of life was probably at a 3 most days. Everything was affected. She was making about $500,000 a year. And then a couple of years ago, something happened. Major stress came into her body. She started really radically going into self-loathing and a lot of shame, because she was no longer making the kind of money she was. She was no longer feeling strong, empowered. She didn't feel like she had any value. And after working with me, she's everything about her life. And I know that if she were here, she would share that life as she knows it has dramatically changed. She has 90% of her life back. She's smiling. She actually was now ready to start making money again. Here's a quick little thing. During her struggle, she was trying to start a business. Wasn't happening. She couldn't even think of a name for the business. Struggle mode, and struggle creates more struggle. Within 5 minutes, this was about 3 weeks ago, she had me on the phone. She says, I feel so good. You've changed my life. I feel good. I'm ready to start making money.
Can I go ahead?
And
finish the story.
In 5 minutes, it was almost like a little challenge from her. She just said, I've been struggling with a name for this business, my dream, for 8 years. And she said, if you can help me with this, then I know you're good. And so within 5, I'm very intuitive. Most of my mentorship is done. I mentor women on both balanced living and in business so they can prosper, but I'm very intuitive. Within 5 minutes, we had a name for her business. And that's a beautiful feeling when you can go in and tap into what is possible.
That's a wonderful story. I often talk about struggle, and I feel even though no one wants struggle, no one wants to sign up for it. However, I feel that sometimes struggle can be a gift. What do you think?
Yeah, nobody wants it, but I can tell you that on the other side of every one of my greatest challenges came my greatest victories, my greatest breakthroughs. So if anybody's in struggle mode, I want them to have hope. I want them to understand that there are people that you can reach up to and ask for help. And I think asking for help when you're in struggle takes a lot of courage. It takes more courage to ask for help when you're struggling, because struggle becomes a secret shame for so many people. And I think that I want everybody to know that it doesn't matter where you are right now. Anybody can start. And you can completely change the direction of how you experience your life.
Well, the author J.K. Rowling said, rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. And so I say that because I often hear about the word struggle, and I see adult parents trying to help their children. And giving them shortcuts, whether it's, going, here's the money to take care of that, or here, instead of letting them have the lessons of saying, what does this mean? What can I do? What am I capable of? And what am I responsible for? And that's one of the common denominators I've seen, again, in growing up in Texas, and different upbringing than the people in California, who are, to me, if you're born in California, the first thing I say to you, you know how lucky you are.
Yeah.
It's a great place to live.
Yeah.
How do you find that your trials and tribulations as a mother of two
Mhm.
have now impacted your children, and how do you want that to impact their children's children?
Wow. So I hope my children do have children. I'm ready to receive. I have two grown sons in their 30s now, Lisa, and one is in the Air Force, has been with and very decorated in the Air Force. So
Awesome.
I would like to believe that some of that discipline that he saw in his mom, being able to pick herself back up despite missing many goals. You can't reach a lot of goals in life without missing a whole lot more.
Right.
And so I would like to see that. Both my children, they're good men. They're good men, and they're gentle. They're good.
You
And
must know the time when people around them to
yeah.
you are like, you did an amazing job with your son, or
That's a wonderful thing. I wish they were in California. I wish they were closer, but they're here. But I also, you said something really powerful. And, we so often, we feel a lot of guilt around struggle. And I want people to know guilt is never your ally. Guilt is never your friend. It's never helpful. So the sooner someone can just go ahead and go back into self-nurturing and a lot of forgiveness. We just have to forgive and let go of the things that we keep holding on against ourselves. And here's what I know is that most people struggle because we're in basic struggle consciousness. And instead of realizing that there's a newer way to think, there's a better way to think, and that is there's an easier way to do life. And I was producing much more. Now I produce much more now. I can manifest results. I can manifest income. I have more joy. I've got more balance than ever because I'm not in chase mode.
so
I let go. Yes.
What does to create mean for you?
To create is to consciously be aware first about what I want. Mm-hmm. And then I co-create with I'm a woman of faith, and I believe the universe has our back. And when I say universe, I mean God, but it's whatever someone believes as far as a higher power. But I believe in asking for what I want. And I believe in intentions are magnets.
Yes.
And I see this showing up in my life more and more. And every time I play with this, the possibilities, I'm continuing to be more confident and assured that that's a better conscious thinker. Yes. So when you just think you have to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, no, that's struggle. You don't have to work so hard to acquire more. In fact, the secret is the more you can relax, kind of like those old Chinese children's handcuffs. Remember those little toys? You put your little fingers in the toys, that little, and then, those little straw Chinese handcuffs. And I use it oftentimes as a metaphor about how struggle doesn't work. Because the concept is put one finger in one side, one finger in the other side, and it's just like this little paper thing. And then you're supposed to just get out. But the joke is on us because we try to get out by pulling harder. And the harder we pull, the more we create struggle. Universe is all around us, yes. But the more we struggle, the tighter it becomes. The grip is harder. And we can't get out of what is seemingly easy. But when we relax and stop struggling, all of a sudden it releases. And that's what I found in my own life. So even though I acquired much in my 20s and 30s, and then at great loss, now in my 50s, as I look back the last several years, I've actually increased 5 times.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Doing less.
So tell us some of the things as we wrap up the show that you're working on today, and then you have some messages to share with our audience.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, again, I honor you. You're a beautiful soul, and I love what you are doing, and so glad that we have, that I know you exist in the world. And so one of the things that I'm excited about is that once a month, Lisa, I host at my office something called Women and Worth. And this is on my website. Anybody can go there and they can take a look at the next event.
And the website is, I'm going to type it here to everyone.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's beautyforthesoul.me, M-E.
Beautyforthesoul.me. I'm seeing here for everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And they can check out, that's perfect. And you can check out the events that we're going to be posting and adding. Women in Worth is something, it is a wonderful way for people to come get a little mini masterclass. It's a high vibrational mentorship evening where you can just bring me your questions and we get a chance to get to know each other. It's also great women connecting. Also, check out on the same website, I had mentioned earlier, anybody that is interested in a radical way to move stress out of their body, because how do you bring in more? By making sure that stress is moved out, and then you learn how to interrupt stress, because you can't create when the body is stressed. You block
Thank
money,
you for your information. Yeah. And so I look forward to following you and staying connected. I am so happy to have you on, Terese. One last thing I want to ask you. I always say time is promised to no one, as we know. Yeah. I hope I live another 45 years at least. But one thing I like to ask the greatest people I interview is one day when you do pass on this earth, what do you want to be known for? If your children could see this part right now, what's your message? What do you want to be known for?
I want to be known as someone that absolutely cared that other people that I've had the opportunity to mentor or to meet understand their self-worth. That they know how beautiful they are, and that they know how worthy they were, and that they are. And I want to be known as someone that absolutely, genuinely wanted to help people believe more in themselves.
That's a beautiful message. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I can't wait to have you back on again, and love your stories. Please follow Terese Santos on Facebook. You could comment after this live broadcast. Yay. And I want to thank everybody. We are happylifestyleonline.com. You can follow us. We're blogging about all things happy lifestyle. There's the website happylifestyleonline.com. And we welcome everyone's comments. We are also creating a happy lifestyle team. On my Facebook post today, we have an event Wednesday, October 10th at MV Lounge in Newport Beach.
Yes.
And it's a social, and it's for men and women. We're doing it after hours. It begins around 4:30 p.m. My incredible friends, Raquel Figlo and Rochelle Casillas, are part of that. And again, as we grow with like-minded people like yourself, Terese, we're so excited to share the message. And thanks to technology today, we really can do this. So I love technology. I've heard people who say, how do we do all this and stay connected? In the early 2000s, I spent a lot of time on radio, on live FM, AM stations. And if I had a time machine and had the tools we can do to get the greatest work out there, this is the platform and the space to be in. And again, thank you. We want to grow with you. If you know anyone that we can interview on Happy Lifestyle Show, please send them my way. I'm Lisa Caprelli, and thank you all for watching. And we'll see you every Wednesday at 11 o'clock here on Facebook Live. Our shows do get also archived onto YouTube. And one more last thing, Terese, because you have so much nuggets and we have to have you back. Share with us 3 things you're grateful for today.
All right. So first of all, I am so grateful that I have complete perfect health right now. That feels amazing. I had a delicious cup of coffee this morning, and I had an amazing view.
Thank you.
I have an amazing view.
All right.
What about
bye, everyone. See you next time. Thank you, Terese. I love your message. See you all soon. Bye. Is that okay?
Yeah. She clearly likes that stuff. The stuff.
Oh, I know.
Is it done?
Yes.